Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another interesting video. This time working on a 2005 Duramax LLY. This is a 6.6 liter diesel computer and also the FICM. So a customer told me, he called me, also his technician. This is for Michael in North Carolina. This is your computer and also FICM. As you will see now, I have the FICM completely open up in there, and I have everything connected, even the scanner. I have, let me lower this down. Um, I have some signals being injected on the computer, and I'm looking at the results, which is I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. So, um, all right, so I'm going to read some of the information first. His concern is no injectors. Injectors are not working at all, and I'm actually able to reproduce that in here. So you can also use an oil light with all the injectors removed in order to see if there's anything going on or not. I even tried to use just a regular injector to see if that would have changed the result. Nothing. Um, so just to show you on the scanner, I am seeing RPM. And yes, it's only 225 RPMs. The reason of that is I'm doing some tests, right? So I am performing the fuel rail pressure, which I'm going to lower now to around, I don't know, 50 or so. It should be around 40 to 60 at idle, or sorry, at cranking. I'm just going to slow because it's a little hard to do with the knobs that I have in here on the simulator, but that is okay. That is actually not changing or current injection, and we can see that in here. I only have two injectors, injector 1 and 8. I only have one injector connected to the noise light on injector number 8, and I am also supplying that signal, which should have come from the computer through my waveform or sorry, signal generator over to the same one that should be coming to the injector number 8. This is a little puzzle in here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I think that he has two problems. Definitely the FICOM is not working, but I think his computer is also not working. We can communicate. As you see, I'm reading that is, Michael, this is your, and Wayne, that is your big number. As you see, I can connect to the scanner, no problems. I'm going to read a little information, or not a little, a lot of information that I have gathered. So let me just go over to first powers and grounds. So let me get this in a better angle. All right, so looking at the diagram in here, so we have all the red lines are powers, and I also put some black lines on the connector. So connector 1, connector 1, connector 3, and connector 1. So there is only two connectors with power, and then the three connectors have the grounds. So we have C1, C2, and C3. C1 blue, C1 2, sorry, C2 is black, and C3 is gray. I also put the pinout numbers, and I took a picture of the computer, and I put all that next to me, next to that diagram for my own records. This is what I visit, and then this is what I do. So this is powers and grounds, and also the communication and the internal communication in between the computer and the FICM is a CAN bus kind of network as SAE J1939, and then the communication with the scanner happens in is a class 2 serial bus, very old style system from GM and Chevrolet, right? So that is just as far as communications and connections. All right, so the injectors in here, we got the engine computer in here. This is the fuel injector control side. This is the FICM right here, right? And also on the bottom, we're going to have the FICM on this same diagram because the FICM controls the powers and the grounds for the injectors. I have marked in green where the injectors control and command are there, and also with the red and black powers and grounds, we need to supply to the FICM to work, which is in pins 5 and 119, and grounds on pins 2 and 114. For the injector, since this is a power, is a high in voltage, right? But It all depends on where you have connected because this is a charging system that will charge for the next injector and so on. But that's more intricate, that not really important for the video. So we have power on pin C13 and C118, as you see here, right? Those are the main powers for four set of injectors. The rest, the actual control side, I don't know why I did that, come on. The actual control side is happening on the same FICM for injector 3 and pin C2. Well, let's just do the numbers because you will see the same thing on the FICM. Pins 115, injector 2 and 121, injector 8 and 120, and injector 5 and 116. The other four injectors are in injector 1 and pin 4, injector 4 and pin 1. I don't know why they did that backwards, but they should have go like 1 and 1 and 4 and 4, right? Because the numbers, but either way. Injector 6 and 7 are the only one that uses two wires per the computer. The only reason they do that is because and this causes a jumper internally is because these are small pins, these are big pins. That's it. But these are just to they don't burn because it's high amperage when the injectors are working. All right, so on the other hand, the communication for the injectors or the command coming from the ECM as are all these wires. There is and I'm going to read this to you as we go. There is two strategies. When the car is cranking, the FICM is in complete control of the injectors. It does not need these signals, which are 8 signals coming from the computer, to operate the injectors. So the injector will, as long as there is an engine speed signal, the FICM and low RPMs, and I can read that in here. Let me just, those are just the default codes. So let me just see if not present, blah, blah, blah. The correct, those are, well, the correct ranking is speed, it should be 100 RPM, cold, and 180 hot. Let me just read that information right here. So it says that the engine control module replicates the signal received from the crankshaft position sensor. This signal is sent to the fuel injection control module, the FICM, right, through the engine speed signal circuit. The FICM uses this replicated signal, let me guys go back, right, to generate the injection current and control the recharge of the fuel injection high voltage circuits. Again, that's what I call you or tell you about the recharge, but that's just a little terminology that you don't really need to know too much. But it says, when cranking, the FICM has full control of the fuel injectors. The only input the FICM uses at this time is the engine speed signal from the ECM. The FICM, okay, let's go back again, monitors the signal along with the injection request signals from the ECM after the engine is running. So again, the FICM will monitor that after the engine is running. So cranking is in complete control. After it runs, then it monitors the signals from the ECM, which is the fuel rate pressure, coolant temperature sensor, and so other inputs that are important. If there is a problem with this signal, a DTC could set, and that is the crankshaft position sensor signal. I also have a waveform of how that signal should look, and I replicated very, very perfect how many teeth on the crank and how many missing, and also the cam sensor signal and the correlation to it. That is just for the engine to run, and that is on running mode. Let me go back to one of those information. Those are just another PDF that I have in here. So this is something that I say for myself in case there is a crank no star, verify there is non-factory specification equipment or is removed. Verify by frequency during cranking on the LT. This is the crankshaft position sensor or engine speed coming from pin 94 of the FICM or to the 94 on the FICM. We want to see where that is. That is exactly right here, right? So that is the engine speed signal, the crankshaft position sensor signal transferred from the ECM to the engine, to the FICM on pin 94, coming from pin 90 sorry, 63 on connector 2 on the ECM, and as you can see, that's a light blue. So that's what that is talking about in there. Make sure that is happening when you're turning the cranking, right? Because if it's not, well, let's start with that. With the FICM still unplugged, prove each of the fuel injector controlled from the ECM while cranking. The frequency should be approximately 2.9 hertz. All right, so this is a control that the computer should be doing. So what I did, because I don't have the signal, so what I did is I am providing that 2.9 hertz. Actually, let me change it to, because I've changed it to 10 hertz as a higher RPM. So I'm still on frequency. No, that's not what I want to do. Bear with me because I don't have my glasses to 2.9 and then hertz. All right, so I changed that. And we can now see that the frequency is 2.9 hertz. All right, so I'm providing that signal for the injector 8, but nothing is happening. I got no result. It should at least blink. It should do something with the computer providing the signal or me providing the signal because I'm injecting the signal and forget the spaghetti that I have in here. I usually do this just with the FICM and not with the ACM because this is not a very common situation. But yeah, we do have Michael and Wayne. We do have a problem. The FICM definitely not responding. And the reason I said that is because, okay, well, let's go back to what I'm saying, what I'm reading. If no present, verify no short to power or short to ground if that is not present. Test the 57X. It says it's a 57X square wave pulse with a white black wire engine cranking. Again, that's the crankshaft position sensor signal, which I have all the wires, and you guys can visit that if you need it. Crank no start, engine shows, engine stall while driving down. Well, these are just the desired field rail pressure. That was just for me to get what the rail pressure should be reading while cranking. The actual field rail pressure is 44 while cranking. Then it jumps up to, that was somebody else's typing and from my Dynafix. The correct cranking speed is 100 RPM cool and 180. We already did read that. And I also put just a note to myself that the engine coolant temperature is in connector C2 from the ECM pin 67. And I have all that in here, so this is what I like, the notepads and the iPad. The crankshaft position sensor signal, again, all I need is myself is the signal. If you're in the car, check the ground and the power. Crankshaft uses 12 volts, camshaft uses 5 volts. So the signal for the crankshaft position sensor is in pin 52 and on the camshaft on pin 51. Let me just read one second, one thing. Blah, blah, blah. Wire cranking 57 square. I thought I read something about another pin. Unplug 2.9 hertz. No, I don't know what I thought I read that they have a different number on the crankshaft position sensor signal. Test is both on the white black wire engine cranking. It just says white and black wire, so that should be white and black wire. And not sure what they're talking about, black and white, brown and white. So that's not. So they might be referring probably to this wire. No, that's light blue. So what is black and white wire? And again, that's coming from a technician, so I'm not sure what he's talking about. Test for a 57 square wave pulse on the white black wire engine cranking. I should probably revisit that. I don't know exactly what he was referring, but I was just looking for how many teeth on that sensor. Let me see what else I got here that I want to share with you. These are just fuel rod pressure sensors in here. I was looking for that sensor signal myself to see where that comes from. Again, fuel rod pressure sensor. And you see that I can change the fuel rod pressure sensor. I got also um, engine degrees, and you can see that I've been running this for 30 minutes, and this is not the first run. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the RPM to cranking, right? So we should be around, like it says in there, in between 100 to 180. And you can see how the injection milliseconds changes. Now the engine runtime is in zero. Why? Because we are cranking, we're not running. So the computer immediately knows that. When that happens, and so is the FICM, if that signal is reaching the FICM, which I know 100% is reaching it, because I already checked it out, uh, the FICM should now be taking complete control of the injectors, and that is not happening. We should at least see some reaction in here. So this is not just only telling me that we have problems with the drivers, but why is all the drivers? This is a pre-driver that took a dump. And this is what I told Michael and Wayne. If the injector drivers are bad, is this price, but if the pre-driver is bad, it's a more expensive repair because that is a very expensive part for me to get. Yes, the parts are now being controlled by somebody else and they're gouging their original parts, but in a start to be a normal price for that part is now like 1,000% markup, and it's nothing I can do. And this is not a commodity that you can, put somebody in between to get the price down. This is just an electronic part, so they can put whatever they want. All right, so going back into the test. On here, I'm going to show you two things. I have the black wire on uh, coming from the computer. Well, actually, right now the computer is in descending a signal. Oh no, this is the red channel. Sorry, I'm just looking at the yellow. So the red channel is on one of the injector signals. It's in pin 72 on the computer. So let me go back in here. So on pin 72 of the computer, I want to show you. Pin 72, uh, pin 72 is fuel injector control 1. You see right here, fuel injection control 1, pin 72, and that's in C2, and that's exactly what I am. So let me also, well, show you the way that should be. So in connector 2, right, the middle one, right? Pin 72 is the last on the last row, and 73 is the big one. So that's exactly what I am with this black wire right here. That's the last pin, and I am connected that one just to my red channel on the oscilloscope. So when the car moves from cranking to normal running, the FICM is no longer in charge, but that doesn't mean that that signal of 20 or 2.9 hertz should be here, and it's not. So this is what I'm thinking. Okay, we definitely have a problem. So when I move my RPM higher than, I don't know, 500 RPMs, and that's cam and crank, you will see that the engine runtime will start to read. Again, I'm going to slow so we can see the change. And when that start to read, not yet. Okay, right there. It looks like around 600 and something. You see now the engine runtime is starting to read. But then something happens and now it says injector milliseconds 0. Not sure. One of my inputs is definitely not correct for the computer to completely take command because definitely I'm now reading. If I go and select all the injector signals, let me just not that one. This is all the injector signals, and there is a lot of inputs the computer needs, like like the injector pressure regulator, or sorry, fuel rail pressure regulator, in order signals that I'm not providing. I don't need to do those for FICM testing, but yes, for the computer testing. Well, it's kind of weird. The injector 5 is showing a 0.4 command. Let me see if that changes if I go higher. Nope, it did for a second. Well, injector 5 is showing command. None of the other injectors are. So let me move, even if it's a smoke, well, actually injector 6. Let me pause this 1 second, guys. All right, so I move everything to injector All right, so this is good because I am now able to reproduce at least a good signal or command coming from the computer. So it looks like it's a 14.3 hertz, at least on the trace, and it's happening. I can tell you with measurements, it's just like a two pulse, and it makes sense because it could not be all the time because it's just for that same injector, right? So injector 5, it cannot be all the time. We can measure that as 173 milliseconds in between one activation and the other activation. And just so you guys can see, it is two pulses. Again, that's just a close look. It's two pulses of 5 volts, right? So one wider than the other one, and then it happens, like I said, every 170 milliseconds. And we can see that very repeatedly. I have 33 waveforms there saved, and we can see that in this waveform is better repetitive. So it's happening, happening, happening. So this is at least very good because I'm looking for a computer respond, right? So this is good. And let's just make sure this is still on, which is good. So I'm going to do now is move, not, don't touch anything, right? Leave the same pressures in here. So we have not MPA. Oh yeah, MPA 48, temperature 87 degrees. Computer's been running for 6 minutes. It shows no injector milliseconds on any of the injectors, but I want to move the wire that I'm using right now. So we're gonna go in order. This is injector 72. No, this is injector 5, so it should be 70. Injector 5. So let me go over to injector 1, which is in 72. So we're gonna move that wire. I don't have my glasses on myself. I think I can do something. Give me 1 second, guys. Should always be prepared. So 70, 1 and 2. Do we have anything in that one? And we do. All right, so we're getting a signal on there. So this is good. This is good news. I'm going to save that one. All right, save this signal. Let me get the waveforms out of the way. So I save this signal because I want to revisit and check this up. This is a little different than the signal we were seeing before. Let's see how far apart. And this is only one signal. So if you guys, anything or anyone that is seeing this can reproduce or has these waveform, please send that over. I'm just saving this one for myself. Again, I will expect to be the same 5 volt. Yeah, it is a 5 volt signal, and this one is only one. You see, it's a one hump, nothing else. All right, so let's move this to another one. So let's go over to injector 2. Injector 2 should be in pin 65. So we're in 72, and I know that I have something. Let me see, 72, 170, 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5. It's gonna be a little hard to get in there. So 6 and 5. Make sure I am in 5. So 65, 6, 7, 8, 9, 71 2. Yes. I'm on 65, and that is should be injector 2. I don't see nothing on that injector. Yeah, I don't see anything on that injector. I'm going to change. Well, no, we got 50 milliseconds per division. So let's go back to, we got 65, and that is the same wire. Make sure that we still got that command on 72. Yes, 72 is still there. Um, 71, 72, we don't have nothing. So 70, 71, and 72. Let me go back to 71, which we haven't checked. We got someone. Yeah, we got something on 71, and 71 is injector 6. So we're going to save that one. I'm just going to change. Yeah, I'm going to save this. So this is injector 6. I'm changing my notes in there. Injector 6, and that is a C71 at 700 RPM. So the rest stays the same. We're going to say, okay, change in here to injector 6. Also in the name, I'm saving this on his folder. And this injector 6 is also a one activation. So we can see that. I'm going to change this probably, yeah, that's the problem. If I go above 100 milliseconds on Pico, it will dirty the signal, and I don't want that. But yeah, so we have one activation. If I stop this and we go over to the waveforms, we can see I'm just going from, I just save 11 waveforms total. We have the same one activation, so that is in there. So we got 71 and 72, the same one pulse signal. But when we go to 70, which I'm going to go back again, that's injector number 5, we get in that two poles, not a one pole. So again, is it this is good, this is bad? I'm not sure yet. All right, so let's go. We got 70, 71, and 72. We got another one in 69. Let's go in that order. So we got 69. I'm going to 69. Yeah, we got something on 69. I just saw a pulse in there. Yes. And 69 should be injector 4. I'm going to change the time, even though this looks dirty. When I stop the signal, it should be um, a cleaner waveform, and we'll see that in a second. Because this looks like a very far apart signal. Again, I have 200 milliseconds per division, and this is happening not very often. So, and it's just one activation. So let me save this one, and this is on 69. So I'm going to change this to 69. Injector 4. Just to make sure. Yep, injector 4. And I'm going to change the same thing in here in 4 and save it. So yeah, if I do the same thing, I'm going to go back to injector 72, or sorry, 71. We can see how we have more activations in there. So 71 and 72 are very different. And I'll go over to 72. We can see a little different than 71. So the firing order probably is not the same one, even though I can read RPMs, because I can definitely see 684 RPMs, and I'm not changing any of that yet. All right, so let's go back to 69. So 72, 170, 69. This is the one we're just getting a pulse in here and there. Well, actually, we just did that one. So it is looking a little better and more like, I think this is probably cam to crank correlation, what we're seeing in here, than anything else, but the commands are there. And this is all I really care. So 69, We got also 68, that will be injector 8. So 68. I don't see any commands on 68. It should be a command for 68. Yeah, I'm in pin 68, injector number 8. Let me just make sure. 71, 2, 1, 70, 69, 68. Yes, I am in 68. No signal in 68. I'm going to move it to 69 so we can see that the signals are still there, and it is there. You see, that's the activation, activation, activation. All right, so move to, we have nothing on 68. From there, we move down to 66. So 67, 68, 66, 66. So I need to write this down. Give me 1 second. All right, guys, narrowing down, we have 3 injectors that are not definitely producing, or the computer is not sending injector signals to, where are you going? No activation on injectors A7 or 2. So I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to come in here. So where I'm right now in injector number 3, which is in pin 52. Let me just get something to point. So 52 is the second row. So we got 72 as the last row in connector 2, and 52 is the one next to it. So that one has signals. So that's injector 3. I'm going to move it over to 72, which we know we have signal. And we can see that in there. So that is 72. That is injector number 1. So we have a command in there. Nothing happened on the FICM, but we need to, again, 2 different things, right? I'm going to 71, and we have control. So believe me on what I'm saying. All those that I mark as having signal, they all do have signal. Even though injector 5, which I'm going to revisit, injector 5 and 7 is only the one that is going before. So that has it. Well, is it showing 2 activations? No, it looks like it's not. Let me stop it to get to assume, because looking at that signal, yes, you see it's a 2 signal. It's a 2 activation. It's very different than if I run um, 71. Let's go over to the one we just were before. Let me stop that and then zoom in, which I will after all this. But if I zoom in here, you see we got only 1 activation. So yeah, definitely we have problems on this computer and on the FICM. But yeah, so if we go over to A7 and 2, so let's go over to, let me see, 8, 7, and 2. So let's go over to 68. So we are 72, 71, 70, 69, 68. This is 68. I'm going to go away from the zoom. Sometimes it loses communication. And this is also, I'm not sure if it's the scanner, Bluetooth, losing the communication, or the actual computer. And I think it's a scanner because I don't see the signals being lost. Again, right there, we got nothing on the red channel, right? If I move it over to, I'm going to take the last signal, we got that activation there. So 68 has nothing. I'm going to keep it on an activation so we know the computer is actually sending the signal. But it's only 3 of them that are not working. So 68 injector command coming from the computer, nothing. We're going to go over to injector 2, sorry, injector 7, which is in pin 66. So I'm going to go over to pin 66. And as you can see, we got absolutely nothing. So yeah, you see the scanner trying to communicate with the Bluetooth. So that is definitely the scanner, nothing to do with the computer, not losing communication. Um, so we got nothing on pin, sorry, on injector 7, pin 66. I'm going to go over to 65 with for the injector 2. You see it went back by itself. And this is the one before. And then on 65, I get nothing either. So just to make sure, because looking at here, and this is original diagrams, all those connectors are in, all those signals are in connector C2, and that's exactly what I am. So we're missing 8, 7, and 2 out of 8 injectors. So yeah, Michael and Wayne, this is a very nice. I love this. I love to, to dissect, diagnose, and then give a customer the correct answer. Because if I fix the FICM, which I know most likely I can, not a problem, and then I send everything to them, and then the car doesn't run, they will say, "Well, Mike is doing exactly the same thing," and they're correct. But not because I didn't fix the FICM, it's because they have more problems on the car. But also, these two modules are here not just because the modules are bad, it's because something else has created this. So we have problems with the injectors, probably shorting out a harness, which is also why, and I'm going to show you this is why I save all this information. So in here, I have also on the bottom, I have saved um, a PDF, which is coming from the dealer. Take my glasses. Well, actually, I can get a little closer. You guys can read it well too. Where it mentions about a harness rubbing on the alternator bracket, and then carefully bend up backwards the FICM wire harness electrical connectors away from the FICM. It says inspect the wire harness for chaffing. They might result from rubbing at the back of the alternator bracket of or the FICM or at the FICM harness retaining bracket. So these are very common, very, very, very common problems that it will do this. I mean, it's a little hard to see here in the picture, but the shaft in the drawing, I mean, it's an exposed wire that will touch the alternator and it will short out and it will burn your computer and the FICM because this is in between the two. So that's why they come up with this service bulletin. I'm sorry for that. Let me just get the service bulletin. Um, hmm. I guess let me just see. I guess this is the ID 2327612, and that is from August 17, 2009. You can also look it for number 090604 if you want to download this service information bulletin. But yeah, Michael and Wayne, we definitely have two problems. The computer has three drivers; they are dead. And again, we're in driver for two. If I move this right now to that one, we can see the computer sending that command for injector whatever number it is. I don't want to go back and forth to the diagram. We all seeing the same thing, but there's no activation from the injector. So we fact we have a problem with the FICM, but your computer has three. I will say not even driver because this is a 5-volt signal, something internally, and these computers I don't repair. The reason I do not repair these computers is first, they're very inexpensive, and two, all the stuff that you want to work on is on the side that is where the connectors, like on this side. Yes, it has a cover that I can remove and I can repair activations for relays and some other things, but this control for injectors and so is on the same side that we're seeing right now. And the only way to remove that it will be to completely desolder the module and get it out, and the board and get it out of the box. And that is so expensive for me to do that it's not worth it. Why? Because I will spend more time and hours trying to correct that than what this use module can cost, and you can send it over and clone it and so over, right? So yes, in this case, I will dim this module as bad, and that needs to be replaced. And then also correct the FICM because I am providing right now, the computer is providing the signal, and we can see that on that circuit, but there are no injector activations. And that's why also reading all the information I have been sharing a lot more than what I really want to do because yes, it's going to be a lot of people now trying to reproduce this and testing these modules and try to do what I do. But I think that this is very important. Yeah, well, it is again losing the communication with the Bluetooth. This is top-down problem, not here. But yeah, so we have an RPM, and I really need to read the RPM. So let me try to reconnect. Let me reconnect, and I'll be right back. All right, finally was able to to connect. So again, I have not changed anything, and it's definitely the scanner computer. I didn't turn the computer or anything now, so this is definitely a problem with the MDCI and the top-down losing connection, sadly. Um, all right, so I'm going to change the RPMs. As you see, we got 31 minutes plus the other 20 something minutes. I've been checking this for over 2 hours or more, probably. I'm going to bring the RPMs down to, you see right now, all the injector commands are there. So this is exactly what I want you to see. Now the FICM is in complete control. See, right now we got injecting milliseconds on all the in all of the injectors, but nothing is happening. So yes, your FICM, Michael and Wayne, is definitely bad. No doubt about it. We have definitely problems with your FICM, but I will fix the FICM, and your computer is bad and you have harnesses problems too. So I'm going to upload this and then send this your way, give you recommendations. Hopefully watch the entire video because I am taking the time to record this specifically for you and for those that are having a problem on the truck. You can do all these tests. You can definitely unplug all the injectors and use a noise light to check. Yes, you can do that. If you unplug all the injectors and plug the FICM. This is, like I said, uh, very, you do this at your own risk. Let's say, I'm doing my own test, not because I follow nobody, not because I follow nobody else's recommendation. I do my test and I know what I'm doing. So if you want to do your test at your own risk, I'm not liable and I'm not telling you to do anything. Make sure that you get a good technician that knows what it's doing, and then they can do that for you. But yeah, this can be done. If I raise the RPMs, I'm just showing you that we have injector at least command from the FICM. Now the FICM is in complete control. When the FICM is not in control, because the RPM raises up above, I think it's 600, right? That's what we said. No, 600 and still their activation. Let me go over to, I'm just raising it up slowly. 720, it still shows us command from all or for all, but we're nothing. Yes, he just went to zero. So this is what the FICM is seeing. There is no injectors working, and now it's shutting down the drivers. Why? Because it knows that when, and we read that before, when is after when sorry when after the engine is running and the frequency there is any problems that will set up a fault, and this is exactly what is happening when we reduce the RPMs. Again, I'm going to go slowly. As soon as we go below 700, it activates all the injectors because it thinks it's cranking mode. See, now the FICM is in command. Nothing is happening. We got no activation here. All right, guys, I don't want to take much longer of your time. Thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.